Hello and welcome to the Lund University International podcast. On the show, you will hear from current students, alumni, researchers, professors, and many more special guests as we explore what it's really like to live, study, and work at Lund University, a world top 100 university. My name is Areej, and I am a master's student doing my master's in logistics and supply chain management, and I will be your host today. Today, we are diving into the world of nanoscience with NanoLund, Lund University's Center for Nanoscience. We'll explore NanoLund's mission, its role in the scientific community, and how its outreach program is making an impact. Our guests will share insights into the work of coordinators, representatives, and student volunteers, plus give us a glimpse into past and future events. Stay tuned to discover why NanoLund is a leader in cutting-edge nanoscience and why its approach is so unique. Today, we have a very holistic perspective as we are introducing professors, PhD students, and master's students. We would like to start by introducing our guests, so maybe Adam can start.
Sure, thank you. My name is Adam Burke, and I'm an associate professor with physics at Solid State Physics. And I'm associated with NanoLund maybe in two ways. One, as a PI who has my own research team, and I'm a member of NanoLund, so we fall within NanoLund. But maybe more relevant for today is that I'm also the outreach coordinator for NanoLund. So we try to organize events where we reach out, and it's anything from small kids to international students. So I'm very excited to be here today.
I'm Patrik Nilsson. I am associated with NanoLund as a PhD student. So my PI is one of the NanoLund PIs, not Adam though. And I'm also a student representative on the NanoLund board.
That sounds amazing. Next is Pratik. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Pratik. I'm from India. I'm doing my master's in Photonics. And I am associated to NanoLund as a student member, as well as I'm volunteering for NanoLund.
Thank you so much for joining us, Pratik, as well. As a person who does not know a lot about the science faculty, I'm always wondering what is the NanoLund and what its mission. So would you like to share with us a little bit more about this?
Sure. NanoLund it's kind of a strategic research area. So it's no one individual place, but kind of an umbrella that ties together many different research across three different faculties. We're at engineering, science, and medicine. But basically any research that has to do with nanotechnology or nanoscience kind of falls within NanoLund.
And I could just fill in that as how what NanoLund feels like from within is that it's somehow PIs of friends and other students know each other and are related. And from the student perspective, we meet once a year, where we try to invite as many students as possible to this one retreat, but we also have smaller events organized for the students, both social but also career-wise, and so on. So it's more that you're surprised that, oh, you're also part of NanoLund. I didn't know. Shit, what is your role and how is that nano?
So it's you are part of a bigger community where everyone is able to share their ideas and contribute to the best of and to the mission of the this community.
Yes.
You would say?
Yeah, I would say that. And to come back to the mission, so I would kind of group it into two different slogans that we have, and one is to be at the cutting edge of nanoscience, and this is very much, or at the forefront of nanoscience, and this is very much from the research perspective. But then equally important to us is to be a great place to do nanoscience. And I think this is very much to, when you're looking around the world, there are a lot of choices. And this really is a very nice place. And it ties into what you were saying. So one of the things that, to me, from being from an international background myself, makes NanoLund very unique is that it is an extremely open environment. So we span across many different research faculties, and we have over 400 members and a lot of different research going on, but it is a very collaborative environment. So we can connect with each other, and there's a lot of things going on. And I would hope students are meeting more than once a year, but at least once a year, there's an effort to bring all of these students together and truly share.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to have a like-minded people gathering around, sharing the same ideas, coming from different backgrounds, as you mentioned, but then sharing and contributing to the same community. But you have mentioned that you are super diverse. So you have professors, PhD students, master students. How would you say that nanoscience is connected to Lund University and maybe also the broader scientific community?
Ooh, that's a tough question. So, okay, I need to be careful because I live it every day. I think we all do. But nanoscience is, I mean, just in society in general, this has become much more a part of everything. So every one of us have phones in our pockets who has very small transistors on the nanoscale. But that's just coming maybe from the electronics side. There's the biological studies, and that's kind of what Patrik is involved in, is the interface between nano and bio.
And that's also the reason why NanoLund is spread over many faculties and in many departments. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly what makes something fit into the category, except for that we're dealing with very small things, right? And I personally am working with proteins, and of course they are very small, but very natural and in everyone's bodies all the time. But then, for example, as Adam mentioned, the electronic side of it is completely different, yet also very tiny, and that's essentially what ties it together. How it fits into the broader scientific community. I suppose the forefront of making things very small is difficult in its own kind of way, but there is also a lot of promise in tiny, like you can fit it in many places, or quantum things only happen on the very tiny scale, for example.
Yeah, makes sense. And how about you, Pratik? As a master's student, how do you see your program and your contribution fits into the picture?
My program is more related to photonics and spectroscopy, or related to lasers. And I always wanted to integrate nanoscience and photonics and to research in the field of nanophotonics. So I get opportunity to work with professors and researchers who are knowledgeable in field of solar cells, perovskites, and spectroscopy. So I get immense knowledge from them. Also, sometimes I go and visit Forum Medicum, that is medical faculty, and I meet doctors over there, and they do use nanoscience in, let's say, for drug delivery, or they synthesize nanoparticles for drug delivery and other applications. So this is my take on nanoscience. And
such a huge terminologies. Wow. And Adam, you mentioned that you are part of the outreach program. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. Yeah. So part of it, I don't know, I feel like we've kind of weaved this very blurry picture of what nanoscience is and what it's doing. But I think one of the cool things is, so we have all these different backgrounds, but we have a lot in common too. As things scale down into the nanoscale, it's there's a lot unique, and we can do great things if we work together across scientific boundaries. And so how to make that make sense to people. So one thing we do, we're very happy with, we get the chance, we go out to schools, and this can be, all the way down to elementary school kids, and show them some cool demonstrations and talk about nano and what that is, and putting that in perspective of things, your body going smaller to a football, going smaller to, and all the way down to the nanoscale, so that people understand. We also, so that's great for elementary school kids. We visit high schools a lot because these are kids who are choosing what paths they want to go in university, and we'd love that they know about NanoLund, that they know about nanoscience, and consider coming to us. And we host as much as we can, but not as often as maybe we would like to. We host people that want to come and visit us. So school groups will come from within Sweden and outside of Sweden. And we open our doors to the public at least once a year. We have something called Kulturnatten in Lund, where you kind of the whole town opens up. And so it's as much art, but also science. And so we're always there representing and welcoming people and trying to show off what we do.
I have been part of the last cultural night here in Sweden in September. And now that you mentioned that, maybe I should keep an eye on what you are offering as well, because it's really nice that you are creating this kind of awareness within the community as well, because not a lot of people maybe have this background about science, and then you are introducing them to all of these perspectives. That's really nice and amazing. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about the structure that you have within NanoLund. So I can hear that you have some coordinators, representatives. How does this structure work together, and what are the different rules that they have?
Sure, let me try. So if we have over 400 researchers, students, and professors, that's a lot of people, and all in different places doing different things. So we do have a structure. So we have coordinators. We have we've groups of research that we work on. So quantum is one, photonics, bio. These are all different research areas that we focus on, but also teaching and outreach. This is one of ours. And so the coordinators like myself, we meet, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 times a year to handle whatever sort of business is going on. But then we also have our student representatives, which is what Patrik is doing, which is very important for the students to be represented at these boards. But for me as the outreach coordinator, it's trying to coordinate, and that's very hard for me to do with so many people involved. So there's certainly much more outreach going on that maybe I'm not aware of. But I'm at least a point of contact for schools or groups that are interested and would like to get in touch with NanoLund, that they can get in touch with me.
Okay, and how was your first contact with NanoLund? How did you get introduced to them? Maybe Patrik and Pratik can tell us more about how did you get to know them?
So let's see. That goes far back. So I studied engineering nanoscience at Lund University. So of course that interfaces a lot with NanoLund. And at the start, I remember finding myself very confused about what this actually meant. And isn't this just the nanoscience program? But then I realized that it is a whole umbrella organization for different researchers. And first when I actually understood what was going on, I think, was when I started my PhD at solid state physics, and being part of NanoLund and going to these events that NanoLund hosts and stuff. So I would say that I have kind of been eased into it, having just heard of it as rumors or seen people talking about it, but not really fully understanding what it was until I suddenly was in the middle of it.
How about you, Pratik?
I started my master's last year, and there are many courses, nanoscience courses, which I took. And through that, I got to know about NanoLund. And I've always wanted to be volunteer, like to give something from my side. And I also wanted to share that I am also a student ambassador for the university. So I volunteer in that way as well. NanoLund is a community where I can meet professors, like researchers, and what research is going on, what type of activities are in NanoLund. So I am curious to know about it, and now I am become a volunteer. I am helping student representatives in organizing activities, in helping them in some sort of way. This is my introduction to NanoLund.
And if someone is interested to be a volunteer like you, what should they do? How can I volunteer to be part of that?
It is very simple. You simply contact one of the representatives, and we set up a meet where we maybe have a beer or something to eat and brainstorm on what to do, and then we do it. The barriers are really only in yourself and the time that you want to dedicate.
Okay.
And if you have an idea for something that needs to be done, but that needs a little bit of money, there is a bit of money to do these kinds of things. I know yesterday, for example, we had an event in Introduce My Research to Me, where people could read about someone else's research and then try to explain it back to them. And this, of course, involved pizza.
Oh, food is always a motivation.
It truly is.
You touched upon a little bit of what tasks should a representative do. Can you elaborate more on what is the difference between a representative and a volunteer?
So the biggest difference formally, I'd say, is that I'm not sure if it's a law or a rule in the university, but all university organizations, I think it is, needs to have a student representative so that the students of Lund University's voices are always heard and acknowledged in in all kinds of decisions made. So that is like a formal requirement that there can be no NanoLund unless the students are also represented in it. And so we are elected by not NanoLund itself, but by the it's called LUS, which is not part of NanoLund, who just generally represent the students. And there our responsibilities are quite relaxed and meager. Usually the big shots don't really take decisions that undermine students, but we are there to make sure that the students are represented in these decisions anyways. And I am yet to feel disgruntled about what's happening in the board meetings. But otherwise, what we do is to try to use the means that the NanoLund provides to both help students and PhD students and postdocs have a more exciting social life at NanoLund. And this part is what I'm most excited about as being a student representative, but then also about helping students find different possible career paths. Like nano is broad, but it's also tiny. So it can be difficult to see where do I fit into the rest of industry and so on. And we're trying to provide, or we're trying to get industry voices to provide different possible ways for you to go once you're done with your studies at NanoLund. Volunteer, I guess you can take over, Pratik.
About volunteering, I got to know about like I can help NanoLund in this way. When NanoLund organized a retreat and I was part of it, and I got to know that NanoLund requires helpers to organize such events. They need some human force to work with, and of course, this encouraged me to be a volunteer. And there are a few activities down the line which we are going to organize. So this is part of my job, like as a volunteer.
So you are helping them during the events, and
Yes.
you're part of that community.
Yes.
And you have mentioned something that is really important, the balance between actually serving the science, but also having the social activities and social life. What kind of social activities do you do?
So we've had one event, which we called the event, where we gathered students and with pizza and had everyone just open the floor for everyone to vent about what's not working with the research. And if you have done research ever, you know that is usually the case, that something doesn't work. Whenever you do something for the first time, something is not going to work. And this can be very frustrating, and it can be very hard as a student to acknowledge that everyone is going through this. So we tried with this event, we tried to show everyone that, even if it looks like everyone else is having a good old time and things are just rolling on, they're also struggling and not understanding what's going on and having difficulties in their PhD. And then we had this event that I just talked about, where you explain your research to yourself or to someone else's research to them, I should say. And I think today there is an event on with Freya, which is about female and non-binary people in, I think, engineering. Let's see, what other events have we had? I mean, we also have we have this retreat once a year that I talked about, and this is mostly social. We all the students are invited to go somewhere and stay for the night. We have usually some lectures or some workshops, but also just students hanging out with each other. Hopefully we get some sort of sauna or spa, but depends on how much money we can squeeze from NanoLund for it. Last year, sadly, we did not, but the year before we had.
That's really nice to have this sense of belonging. You're not alone. We are all facing the same challenges, but we are sure that you can overcome them.
That is the intention to show. It's not that easy to make everyone feel like that all the time. It requires a lot of work. And being a PhD student, myself and the other representatives as well, it's not like we have oceans of time to dedicate to this part of our job. But we try.
We had a discussion session a few months back, and my role as a volunteer is also related to brainstorming few activities to give some ideas which we can plan.
So you're working hand in hand with them to brainstorm what kind of things you can do for the community.
What kind of events we can organize, activities we can organize.
That's really nice. It's always great to have this sense of belonging. I think I believe that you have a lot of international students away from their families. They kind of feel alone. They need to have this support around them, and to have such a safe place to share these ideas and people who can understand your struggles is amazing. Going back to you, Adam.
Yeah.
What would you say is the importance of NanoLund when it comes to research and education to Lund University?
Yeah. So I think what's really important about us is that kind of what I started into on before, that it can maybe be a little hard to say what is nano, but it's something that ties all of these groups together. And you end up, so if I come from the research side first, you end up doing much better science if you cross these boundaries. So you don't have a department of physics anymore. You don't have, medicine across the street, but these are people who meet now regularly and they talk and they come up with ideas together. And I think there are a lot of examples on how that's really pushed us forward scientifically. So we're doing really cool things there. Then education-wise, as NanoLund, we don't necessarily run our own education thing, but you can imagine with so many members being involved that we have kind of worked our way into all kinds of different education programs here. And then there are a couple courses that NanoLund runs. So as a PhD student, for example, you can go for NanoLund with graduate with distinctions. NanoLund distinction is kind of just a gold star, but it is very cool. And this comes with a couple courses. So Nanoscience breadth course, which is like a seminar type course where you meet with a lot of different people who come and give lectures and you do this whole discussion. And there's also nano safety course. So those are kind of at the PhD level, but we are also very integrated into some of the master's programs. So we have the nano, nanotechnology or teknisk nanoskop.
Technical nanoscience.
Yes, thank you.
It's a technical term.
Yeah. But this is a master's program, and that is, like I said before, so it's not necessarily NanoLund in charge of it. It's coming through LTH, but it is very much run by NanoLundians. So there is a lot there that I think we give back into both research is really nice, very advantageous, and we give back into education as well. And if we're doing our jobs right, I think we're opening up a lot of opportunities for students by having these things together and having the student community and just having a very open and accepting community.
I just want to fill in that the nanoscience breadth course, I'm taking it right now and I find it really great. We're all kind of scientifically literate to the point where we can read someone else's papers, even if it's in a specific subject that is not our own. And then going to the seminar where the person who wrote it is talking and then having these questions afterward, I think is really great. And I'm learning a lot.
I have a question to ask, mostly to Adam.
Yeah.
Does NanoLund give scholarship to PhD students or maybe funding?
So there are a couple of different things. So if you're a student, we do have travel funds available. So that's if you're going to a conference or a research visit or something. So we have a funding scheme there where you can write for that. And that's kind of ongoing all year. Then NanoLund also has money set aside for students, maybe more PhD and even postdocs. If they come up with their own research idea, they can write for NanoLund money. And so this is also, not only does this give them money that they can then pursue their own scientific idea, which is excellent, but it also is a great chance to start to write these proposals. So if you want to stay in academia, that's something you just can't get away from. You have to write proposals. And that's an excellent atmosphere to start practicing for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I think this is my fault, but I have always thought about NanoLund as like connected more to the science. But now that you mentioned, it's like bridging science and LTH, which is the engineering faculty as well. It sounds really holistic and amazing.
It is, and medicine as well.
And medicine.
Yeah.
But what about connection with industry? Do you have a lot of connection with Swedish industries or people who are working with the specific projects related to nanoscience as well?
So we're definitely tied in. So there have been several cases over the years where great ideas from within the research environment have then spun out to be their own startup companies. And there are other smaller companies in the area that then work very well with us. We also, NanoLund and Lund University, we have a lot of very cool infrastructure. So, we have Max4, which is X-ray source. We have ESS that's coming up. Not that we have it, but we are very much involved with it. And one thing that we're very, very involved with is the Lund Nano Lab, which is our own clean room. And so there, again, that we can host people who from industry or their own startup company that want to come in and do some fabrication of their own. So with so many of us, we're involved in many different things. So I'll just talk about one, and maybe it's not fair to others, but it's the one that I'm closest to. So recently, we were awarded a competence center from Vinnova, and this started working to develop sensors which could integrate into machinery and trucking and these things. So in Swedish industry. So now we're working closely with Alfa Laval, Tetra Pak, and Volvo Trucks. So So there are definitely many connections.
Yeah, these are one of the biggest companies in Sweden, actually. Yeah. So having this opportunity to network is really an added value as well. Yeah. What kind of social presence do you have? Do you have your Instagram, Facebook?
We have LinkedIn. So maybe we're not as modern as Instagram and all that, but LinkedIn has been working very well. So please do look us up on LinkedIn.
So if you are excited to know more about their activities or everything related to NanoLund, please make sure to check their LinkedIn. Okay, we are about to wrap up this podcast. Thank you so much for sharing everything. But as a last remark, is there anything else that you would like to mention about NanoLund that we didn't discuss?
There's one thing I want to squeeze in. So if you're interested in anything you heard, please go to nano.lu.se. And you can read much more about us on our website. You can also apply and become a student member. And I think you could do that anywhere in the globe.
Thank you so much for coming today. I myself got so much educated about your community, and now I'm more excited to check out your events and maybe have the opportunity to join some of your activities. So thank you again for joining, and hope that you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Lund University International Podcast. If you are interested in learning more about Lund University, you can go to our website, lunduniversity.lu.se. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. And you can connect with our amazing student ambassadors on Unibody platform. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to bringing you a new episode very soon.